No one told you life was going to be this way. We've been here since 5 o'clock rehearsing.
Has this been... You guys have been rehearsing? That's adorable. That was really good. Do that again.
So I guess no one told you life was going to be this way. Aren't there like college courses in Buffy? They're Buffy studies.
There are. There's books about it. There's like philosophical discussions, and there are classes. I haven't attended them personally, but I think it's just sort of about all of the theories about what was actually being said and the psychology behind the monsters and what they actually represented, or just my hair.
You should turn up and do like a seminar or something.
I mean, I would love to, but I would be such a disappointment because like people will come up to me on the show. Do you remember an episode, you know, season 5, episode 4? And I'm like, could you tell me what happened in it? And was I Buffy in that one too? Sometimes I get a little.
You lived.
No, actually I didn't. I died many times on the stage.
Yes.
Yeah, I died many times.
I'm an idiot. And Night, I'm correct to call you.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, good. Okay. So you are famous for directing these films that are very kind of plot and twisty and surprises and shocks along the way. And I heard you in an interview talking about how you don't think there's ever a moratorium on spoiler alerts, that you must never do spoilers.
Yeah, I'm you know, even today I was doing interviews for the new movie, Knock at the Cabin, and they were saying, when can we talk about the ending of this movie? I was like, never. Not in this lifetime, ever. We were at the premiere yesterday, and all these influencers now were at the premiere, and they're kids. And they're like, I just saw this movie, Signs, it's incredible. Like, I saw it yesterday, you know? And so it's like this new generation is getting to see these movies, and so I'm like, don't say anything. You guys don't say anything to your kids, please. Just let them watch, so...
Did I tell you the most embarrassing story ever?
Oh, no. Did you tell the ending?
No, not of that movie.
Which one? Spoiler alert!
Yeah. It's gonna be hurtful. That's not...
No, I mean, to my relationship, it almost was. But no, it's a Freddie Prinze story. We've all seen Sixth Sense here.
Oh, my God, don't do it!
I'm not gonna give it away.
What did he just say?
Give me a little
We're all going to see a dead person in a minute.
We're about 20 minutes into the movie, and I said something just like it popped out, like, oh, is that... And my husband didn't see a movie with me for 15 years.
Rightfully so.
15 years. I forgot about that till I just saw you here.
Yeah.
I'm having PTSD.
Oh,
you had to go brunette in Legally Blonde.
Well, I was sort of mustard color, yeah. Yeah, I was they say to the colors, you know, just the most loser, bad hair color you can come up with. And the thing is, when you play the loser in a movie, you're treated like that on set, and you just get like, you know what I mean? Like, if I was like talking to him, like he would just like blow me off at the coffee over at the craft service or something, because, you know, you forget you've got like big clown shoes on, and you know you've got mustard-colored hair, and they put these fake zits on your face and everything. So you're like, hey, hi. I was flirting up a storm on that movie, and it was very limited.
And here's a weird thing. You don't meet many of these people. David Schwimmer, you are sitting next door to a unicorn. Mark Ruffalo, tell David an interesting fact about yourself. You know the fact.
I come from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
That's one of them. No, you've never seen Friends, have you?
I wish
No, you
I
must have seen like you must have seen.
I've seen a lot of parts of it. It's not. No, it's not you.
It's totally fine.
Me.
But that must be rare.
It is. I think I'm the only one.
Okay,
in this
I've got an
audience.
admission to make. Okay, when I was sent the script of episodes, and I read the first episode of episodes, and it said, "And who's going to be in your show?" Matt LeBlanc, and I did have to Google him.
No.
So yeah, we're
I'm so sorry, David. It was only supposed to be one person, and then the rest of the show was just going to be bigging you up.
You've seen it, right?
Nick, do you know who he is?
Sorry, which sitcom is it?
We've mentioned it briefly there, the whole idea of you being a vegan, because you are really into kind of the environment and being a vegan and...
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I really care about people and the planet and animals, and there's so much suffering that's unnecessary going on, so it's a really lovely thing to feed yourself well and...
I'm with you. I'm with you. I've got the hybrid car.
Yay.
I've got the dogs, all of that. But your dog is a vegan as well.
All 4 of my dogs are vegan.
Their farts must be terrible.
They don't fart. They don't fart. They used to fart. When they
fart?
weren't vegetarian, they farted a lot. But now that they're vegan, they don't really fart anymore.
Aren't you scared they'll crack and eat you?
Hasn't happened yet. I've got dogs that are really big, and they were all rescued, so they should, you don't know where they've come from. And one of them's 17. He's like massive, and he's holding on. I think that they do better because they're vegan.
Do you think he's waiting for meat before he dies?
When they're in New York, no, it's okay. When they're in New York, they have had meat because people don't know that they're vegan, and in the streets of New York, they sort of gather leftover
And I guess
hot dogs.
the dogs don't know they're vegan either.
No, they don't
It looks
know.
delicious, but I must
Sorry.
Very quickly, just going back to Legally Blonde, there was a thing last year, you must remember when it hit the headlines, President Trump, he made the commencement speech.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it turned out it bore quite a strong resemblance
Yeah.
to Elle's graduation speech
Yeah.
in Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Was it Jimmy Fallon who found this out? I know it was all over the
I
internet.
don't know. It was, maybe it was on Jimmy's show.
If you haven't seen it, it's sort of unbelievable. We'll just show them the thing.
That we take our next steps into the world.
You must go forth into the world.
It is with passion, courage of conviction,
Courage in your convictions.
and strong sense of self.
Be true to yourself.
We did it!
I did it.
Have you not seen that?
I can't believe I've never seen that. I've always fallen down YouTube rabbit holes, and I missed that completely.
It's true, he is better when he sticks to the script.
Do you know how that happened, or is he just a fan of the film?
I'm sure he's just a big fan.
Because of playing Samantha, people must do they just assume they can sleep with you?
I think they think that they already have, actually.
But no, seriously, do you,
No, I'm serious. No, because they feel that, because the series was about sexuality and in many different situations and locations. Yes, locations.
Yeah.
With some ventilation, yes. That they feel that, that's something that they can picture in their mind. But during most of the series, I was married, and the last season, I wasn't. And it was quite terrifying out there because men were actually frightened of me because they felt that I was just this, carnivore and they wouldn't stand a chance. Yeah, it was quite lonely.
I read somewhere that women are sort of really inappropriate in the things they just come up and tell you about their partners and their own sex lives.
Yes. Yes, I was shopping once and this man came up to me at the fish counter. And he said, "It's the atmosphere. It's all your fault. Don't blame me." And he said to me, he says, "I really have to thank you." And I thought, oh, why? He was quite attractive, and he had a girl with him, obviously his daughter. He said, "Because without you and this show, I wouldn't have been able to really talk about oral sex and the dangers of that with my daughter." I said, "Thank you very much." I know. So it can be a little tricky, but at the same time, maybe that is a conversation that needs to happen between parent and child. Not just from a mother's point of view, but from a father's point of view.
Probably not between them and you, though. No.
That
conversation need never happen.
No.
Someone else had a huge influence on Leonardo DiCaprio's career. I turned to Paul Rudd. No, you did, though. You properly did.
I don't know. I don't think I had an influence, but sometimes, looking back, you find yourself in some interesting conversations and moments in time. And I worked with Leonardo on Romeo and Juliet. And at the time, my father made his living. He was a Titanic expert. And he used to take people all over the world talking about the Titanic. He could go to universities. And, and it was my last day of filming on Romeo and Juliet. And we all went out to a bar afterward. All the guys, we were all a bunch of guys working on the movie, and so we were in different cars. And I was riding to the place with Leo, and he said, "I just got offered this movie, but it's a big movie." And he had done indie films to that point. He said, "It's a studio movie. It's Titanic." And I said, "That's incredible." And I knew a lot about Titanic because my dad just talks about Titanic. And we just had a conversation about it. And he was saying, like, "I don't know what I'll do." I remember saying, "You should do it." I don't think I had any say, but it is kind of interesting to think back on that.
Yeah, there was a moment when he mightn't have done it.
Yeah, because he did it. He did do the movie.
Did you contact other people? Like, for Jerry Halliwell, did you ring her and say, "Is it okay if I put that story about?"
No, I haven't done that.
No, she doesn't come out of it badly. It's just...
She doesn't come out of it badly.
No, so you were dating at the time?
Well, we were dating. We were friends, and, And I used to have this flat in Notting Hill, and the window was quite public. It was quite a public flat, and I'd be watching the TV, and a bus would pull up, and it'd be the top deck, and they'd just be like watching Robbie Williams watch the television every 20 minutes. And that particular evening, Jerry was around at the flat, and I don't know how, but 20 to 25 paparazzi were outside, and they were letting the flashlights go off like this, trying to get us to come to the window. And I thought, I'm going to phone the police and see what my rights are. And I don't want to bother the police, but I'd like to know, because this is weird. And the policeman came around, and I said, "I'm really sorry to get you round, mate. I don't want to be a hindrance, but I've got all of these paparazzi, and I just want to know what my rights are." And the policeman goes, "Can I stop you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "When you start out in your career, that's when you want the press, isn't it? But then when the press wants something from you, you don't like that, do you?" And I'm thinking, oh, no. And I've got a policeman in my house and a Jerry Halliwell hiding in the cupboard right next to the policeman when he's having this conversation. And I'm like, oh, no, I've just got to get him out because I don't want to be told off, And I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for coming around. You're right, I'm sorry. Doff the cap off. He went. And I'm like, "Oh, Jerry, we can't do anything about the paparazzi, and we should get out of here." And I had the genius idea to put her in a holdall. It's a very small person. And I literally put her in this duffel bag and put her over my shoulder. And like the paparazzi are all taking pictures, and I'm like, "Hi, guys." She had a car, and I put her in the boot of a car, right? Which is funny. When we got to the service station and I had a KFC, I could have let her out.
You had a career that lots of actors would have liked to have had, being in TV shows and making a living.
Right. Well, later in my life, it took a long time to get there. I did a lot of very questionable jobs along
But they were
the way.
jobs.
Sure, yeah.
But then ER came along, and
everything changed.
Yeah, and I read in an interview you can pinpoint the moment when you sort of stopped being a jobbing actor and...
Yeah, there you go. That's a good look right there.
That was the moment.
I always remember they show that picture and then they cut back to you and they're like, oh. Wow.
Don't applaud that! Don't clap that!
It's the truth. We were like this. Oh, no. Stop.
You look fine, sir. You look fine.
You're doing okay.
I remember a moment, because, there's a moment when, getting famous is when they actually know your name. And I remember being in New York, I think, because, the show came out, and people forget about what the kind of numbers our show did. But in the United States, we had shows we did 45 million people watching. Now the biggest show will do 15 or 20, 18 million people. We were averaging 35 and 40 million people. So it was overnight one of those everyone was just obsessed with the show. We were on the cover of Newsweek after about 2 weeks. So we'd gone from absolute obscurity, no one knew who we were. In fact, we shot the pilot and the show was picked up, and we went across the street. There's a place called Smokehouse, which is a restaurant, to eat. It was like all the actors, Tony Edwards, Juliana Margulies, all of us, and we're dressed in our doctor schmucks because we're doing a show. But the show hasn't been on the air yet. And Tony has a little baby boy who he gives a French fry to, and he starts like to choke on the French fry. And now you've got 6 actors, not... And we're like, somebody do something! And everybody in the restaurant's like, do something! What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, never go to that hospital.
No.
That's a terrible hospital right there.